On the 12th day of TDS, Paradoxum gave to me 12 hours of grinding, 11 skins for Christmas, 10 too many waves, 9 bells given, 8 crazy name tags, 7 goofy emotes, 6 festive consumables, $5 premium pass, 4 teammates selling, 3 annoying pass, 2 average towers, and the Frost Spirit getting clapped again. Greetings! It has been over a week since the Operation I.C.E. update dropped inside TDS. After being revealed of the plans for the cultists and the Hexscape event, they have followed this up with their invasion of Outpost 32. There is a lot to unpack from this event today, so bear with me here. Operation I.C.E. has single-handedly altered the timeline compared to the last video we did. It is time to debunk all the secrets that this event has in store, including the secret cult that the Frost Spirit has been building up. From taking a look into Operation I.C.E., we are shown that the cultist, SunkenRealm, is occupying Outpost 32 in a janitor disguise. I'm gonna be honest, I was kinda tripping in my last video. I'm not sure why I thought this was going to be the new name for Frost Spirit. The voice in the cutscene directly correlated to him instead.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, we are introduced to the scientists in control of their portal when it all of a sudden starts to malfunction. This teleports us into Outpost 32 as we were living the Please Donate event. It was already assumed, but this basically confirms that the Please Donate event happens right after the Hexscape event to follow into this event. We were meant to go back to our home base, but were redirected into the trap the cultists set up for Operation I.C.E. Because of this, Ramiel breaks through to insert a keycard that leads the portal toward a frost dimension where the Frost Spirit and his army is located. This is when the Frost invasion finally commences. We also do not know where he got that keycard from to switch dimensions entirely like freaking Rick and Morty. Wake up, Morty! Check out this new keycard I got! We can summon a whole invasion of Frost enemies. So, this carries on as we battle against waves and waves of Frost enemies that pour in. While this is going down, Professor V is pushing to steal the keycard off of Ramiel. Once she is prepared to fight back against him, the cultists were on standby to release the Frost Spirit from his prison after entering the Frost Dimension. Now, one point of criticism I have for this is that the game shows no progression on how they ended up here. It just shows that it happens, which is a bit of a bummer, not gonna lie. Before we go any further, wait, what is he carrying? Is that Krampus's staff? Ain't no way! So, it is now confirmed that at some point after the revenge of Krampus, the children of Exo seemed to pick off his staff after Krampus was defeated. I think it is best to leave this discussion for later in the video. It is now the final wave, and the Frost Spirit has been unleashed onto the battlefield. Shortly after the Frost Spirit arrives, this triggers Experiment 32 inside the Outpost to escape and fight against the invasion. Now, why has this molten monster been contained in Outpost 32 to be experimented on? To be brutally honest, I have no clue. There have been suggestions stating that this might have been an effort to recreate Conserver, but there is no solid evidence to really support this. However, we do know that this is not the first time that they have run this experiment. If you take a close look at the scenery of the map, you will notice the skeleton of another molten monster laying within the snow. Whatever experiment Outpost 32 was running, it was definitely something they were very passionate about. We will have to keep looking into this theory for another time. Once the Frost Spirit gets destroyed, he is swallowed into the Shadow Realm or something. Seriously, where did bro even go? After this, Ramiel has a hissy fit, and Professor V confronts him to hand over his keycard. They both have this cool little villain hero speech when Ramiel decides to give up the keycard and vent like an Among Us imposter away from the guards. Okay? The whole event ends with Professor V hinting toward investigating the capabilities of Ramiel's keycard for the future.
The Frost Spirit served its purpose. Like bees, its If you take the queen, you can control the hive.
Oh my god! Did he say a leak to a swarmer rework? This is crazy news, guys!
Overall, that is what has been revealed with this event at its core. But, along with this, the introduction to the new index system was also provided to us in this update. Within the index, each enemy from Operation ICE has been provided with a description to further explain how this Frost dimension works. The story behind Frost Spirit's army only gets deeper from here. Welcome to the Plants vs. Zombies Almanac. Oh, whoops. Wrong game. There we go. As you can see, there are many different descriptions behind each of these Frost enemies. Most of them do not really reveal too much, but some are really fascinating to look further into. I'm not going to go over every single enemy, but if we look into the index of an enemy like the Deep Freeze, it simply says how they are formidable additions to the Frost army and are protected with reinforced armor on the battlefield, which is dope to hear about. However, it gets pretty interesting after checking out the description of something like the Crying Angel. It is stated how these Crying Angels were devoted followers of the Frost Spirit who got promoted with chains, wings, and a halo. Along with this, there is also the Frost Mage that represents the next step of their belief in the Frost Spirit. They are provided a portion of the Frost Spirit's power for reaching sainthood in their beliefs. Dang! Does this sound like some rituals in a cult or what? It seems to me that a whole religion was developed within the Frost realm based on the power of the Frost Spirit. Yet, this only gets more puzzling from here. Another enemy that I found pretty noteworthy was the Frost Hero. Within the description of the Frost Hero, it goes over the usual characteristics that illustrate the enemy. However, this gets strange when it says how their weapons are designed by the Maker himself. Who the frick is the Maker? To me, the easy answer could just be the Frost Spirit, or it could be someone completely different. When they bring up the Maker, my mind automatically switches to Lord Exo, since he is the mastermind behind the apocalypse with the God Cube. Am I looking too deep into this? I'll move on. Finally, you already know that this wouldn't be complete without me taking a look at the description of the Frost Spirit himself. Right off the bat, a big question mark pops up when it is mentioned that the Frost Spirit is one of the most powerful enemies in the Frost realm. This implies that there are other enemies in this dimension that are as powerful or even more powerful compared to the Frost Spirit. Maybe this could include either Krampus, Mechaclaws, or something completely different. Moving on, in his description, it explains how the Frost Spirit controls the enemies within his domain. The Frost Realm seems to act like an ecosystem with separate kingdoms, including the Frost Spirits. This is just a thought, but what if we continue to face other factions in future winter events for TDS? Imagine if we witnessed the return of the Frost Spirit's army to clash with another faction in the Frost Dimension. Now that would be a wild event. So that is all I wanted to look into with all the new indexes for this event. Despite this, our work here today is not done just yet. Ever since the last video, the timeline of events have changed quite a bit. It's time to make some modifications with all the new information we have collected. Like last time, I am only going to include the most important events in the story since the solar eclipse event. I'm going to try and summarize each of these events as concisely as possible. To start us off, instead of the Frost Invasion event like I previously proposed, we are going back to the stories foretold from the Lunar Overture event. Again, I know that Solar Eclipse technically happens before Lunar Overture, but Lunar Overture was told as a prequel, so that is why I like placing it first. This marks the beginning of Umbra getting overtaken from the dark energy in the God Cube. This also caused the God Cube to explode, spreading its fragments throughout the entire world of TDS and beyond. As a result, the village of Umbra turns into ruins after the explosion occurs. Following this up, the solar eclipse event takes place as the Umbra charges her armies against us. On night 1, I still believe we get placed right back in Umbra's village after it was destroyed from the God Cube. By battling all the enemies on each night, we challenge the Umbra and defeat her once and for all. This ends her madness, causing the solar eclipse to fade from the sky entirely. Now, this is where the timeline gets a little shaky. Remember how I mentioned that the children of Exo stole the staff of Krampus after he got defeated? Since this is the case, this indicates that the revenge of Krampus needs to occur after the God Cube exploded, along with happening before the plans carried out during the Hexscape event. That is why I think that Krampus's revenge would happen right about now. During this event, Krampus utilizes the powers of a God Cube fragment he collected for his staff to control Santa's elves, the map, and give him powerful abilities. By the way, it could be possible that this event all takes place in different sections of the Frost Dimension. I mean, the final ice castle Krampus takes us to is very similar to where the Frost Spirit is found. My theory is that the children of Exo were present during all of this and were able to obtain the staff after Krampus dropped it upon his defeat. This would also explain why the children of Exo knew how to access the Frost Dimension and locate the Frost Spirit during Operation Ice. After this happens, this is when the apocalypse truly begins with the Hexscape event, making the children of Exo search for a God Cube fragment through the usage of portals. Okay, this is when the plot holes start to become strongly present. It does not make sense for the cultists to search for another fragment of the God Cube if they already have one from Krampus's staff. I believe that the plan for the children of Exo was actually meant to attempt to free Lord Exo from his prison. They were mentioning how they wanted to make contact with Lord Exo, and throughout the Hexscape event, we can notice him within their portal. Collecting an additional fragment of the God Cube could possibly take them another step closer to breaking Lord Exo out. Anyways, we beat the primordial Draco Bloxer that was carrying the God Cube fragment, which is when the children of Exo sweep it off us and escape through a portal. When we face this crushing loss, our focus would shift over to securing the God Cube fragment that corrupted Hasm in the Please Donate event. Before I go over this event, I just wanted to take a second for us to process this. Please Donate, a completely separate Roblox game, is a part of the lore in TDS. What's next? A Bloxfruit event? Our mission is to take down Hasm and his fake accounts in order to prevent them from stealing the Robux within the economy of this dimension. After we defeat Hasm, the fragment returns back to us and the Please Donate dimension is saved from the corruption. Finally, this timeline currently concludes with Operation Ice that the children of Exo followed up with in their plan. Ramiel sneaks into Outpost 32 as we are redirected to the same location for his trap. He breaks into the control panel to insert a keycard that switches the portal's destination to the Frost Realm when the army of Frost enemies start invading us. As the Frost Spirit is released, we notice the children of Exo using the staff of Krampus to control him into invading Outpost 32. When the Frost Spirit gets beaten, Ramiel is confronted by Professor V, causing him to give up his keycard and escape through a vent. Whew, wow, that was a lot to get off my chest. As you can see, the storytelling for TDS is continuing to develop more and more for each event they fit into the game. The index feature is really neat to get a better grasp of the environment of their events. Like I already said earlier in the video, there are still questions that need answers for the lore to piece together a lot better. As 2025 begins, I have been appreciating the angle Paradoxum has been taking to push more of a narrative into their game going forward. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay strong, Violet Reapers.
Killer fish from San Diego, San Diego, San Diego. Killer fish from San Diego, San Diego, San Diego. Killer fish, San Diego.